Hi, this is Danielle, and I'm here with Alisha. We are working on improving the AWS partner page, which is the solutions page. We have some notes from our last conversation, and what we're going to do today is kind of live jam on an MR, probably going to pull up some other examples for inspiration. And I think some of the things we might not want to change, we want to share this video with other folks on the team and get some help. So we're going to start a draft MR, and then hopefully we can partner with PMMs or other folks who can collaborate with us. Does that sound like a good plan, Alisha?
Sounds great. Thanks, Danielle.
Totally. So why don't we start by, I think you were giving a good summary right before we started the call of just kind of like some of the main criticism of how this page could be improved. So why don't I share my screen and why don't we talk about that again? Because I think that'll help just set context for anybody else who watches this video. So go ahead.
Yes. So this is kind of our main call to action when we do trade shows or any type of email or any type of content where people are like, how does GitLab support AWS? What does the partnership look like? We kind of direct people to this page. As you can see here, it's got a lot of good information, but it's very, very text heavy. Like you'll see that we're a DevOps competency partner. You'll see we've put a lot of our joint AWS and GitLab benefits, and you'll see how we're a marketplace partner, our joint capabilities, so meaning the integrations we support, which is really what a lot of people want to focus on, and our customer success stories and our joint solutions in action, which we feature a lot of white papers, webinars we've done with AWS, and then of course at the bottom, try GitLab free. If there's a way we can make this a little bit more user-friendly or kind of use some of the content we have and make it a little bit more digestible, if that means doing some, I would say, like images and make it a little bit more exciting and maybe tell a little bit better story and have people walk through. Initially, I want to say, since a lot of people that come to this page are probably looking at the integrations we support, I would think that we'd want to move that up a little bit higher. And if there's a way we can support visuals on that, besides right here, we have the icons. So you'll see we have like the EC2, the EKS, the Fargate, Lambda icons that AWS has for these integrations. If there's a way, maybe we can make it a little bit more visual. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but that it's so text heavy, it's kind of hard to read. It just, I guess, if I was like, oh, what integrations does GitLab support with AWS? And I looked here, it would be a little bit hard for me to kind of be like, okay. If you click on the learn more, what is that? I don't remember exactly what.
So they're different for each one, but I'm noticing like one is a blog post, but like, for example, it looks like most of these are like, let's look at the Lambda one. Looks like it takes us to docs.
Okay.
So I guess, can I ask you a couple clarifying questions just to like draw you out a little bit more on some of your thoughts?
Yeah, of course.
So going back to the original page, I want to get back to the joint solution capabilities section in a second, but I'm just curious, like, do we have a goal for this page that we're measuring, like where we say like, if X happens, then the odds of Y, which I'm guessing is leads or whatever, like, are we counting how many times talk to an expert gets converted or how many times people sign up for a trial for this page or any of that?
At this time, we haven't really been measuring that. It's just kind of a like an overall page where people are like, oh, can I get more information how you support AWS? Here's something that has everything that you might need to know. So we're not really, I think as far as call to action, we haven't really been measuring that. We haven't really been, we feature this page in a lot of our path factories, so we can see if people do kind of come to this page, but I think that's where it tailors off. With it goes to talk to an expert, and you'll notice this for more than just our AWS solutions page. We also have a VMware Tanzu solution page, a Red Hat solutions page, Hashi, and a Google Cloud. It all goes to this contact sales, and I'm not really sure exactly what happens after with all these solutions pages that we have with our partners for the contact sales, exactly how that's being funneled through.
Okay. So does partner marketing get credit for these? Like, do they get shown as like, partner leads or anything like that?
At this time, no. Okay. So I'm thinking it goes to someone on the sales side to just follow up on, but I would like to know more about how that is being traced back. Initially, when we set up these pages, it was, I think we just put talk to an expert because we've used that call to action on other pages before. So I think it's made it easier just to keep that same call to action.
Okay. And then down here, what we were talking about, the solutions capabilities, I'm kind of curious, like, I don't totally know the intent or like, where this is getting used, but I could imagine sending someone to a docs page if they're not a developer isn't like particularly actionable. I'm curious, do you have thoughts on like, is this the ideal experience, or is there some interstitial page we want to have that more explains like why AWS Lambda plus GitLab is a great combination? Like, it's a little more, I guess, a little more businessy. I'm not sure who the reader of that previous page is, but sending someone to docs, I don't know, like, do we think this is a good experience, or do we have any evidence that it is a good experience?
No evidence, of course, but we definitely need to start figuring out how we can kind of start tracking this better. But I think it can be twofold. When we go to trade shows, for example, we just finished up with AWS reInvent. A lot of that is developer focused, and the leads are more technical leads. I think they will find this stuff interesting, like figuring out how you can deploy Lambda with GitLab. I think from a technical piece, that is something they are interested in. But I also think that because we use this page in so many different facets and different go-to-market activities, and we direct people, a lot of different types of leads and people to this page, I think maybe if we could separate from the more technical, like sending people to docs who might be interested in how we support it technically, and like you said, the business aspect, I think that would be more beneficial, because this is an all encompassing page. So we need to, we want to have all this messaging, but I think it's hard to tailor it, because it's not, unless we did like a specific page just specifically for technical AWS information, and then one for specific just business, quote unquote business information. I think I don't think that's what we're looking to do at this time. I think I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but I
Oh,
think
it's great. It's okay. Like, we're just trying to figure it out. I think the question I have is, I'm asking you a little bit about like calls to actions and goals. It's like, if we don't figure out that, it's really hard. Like, I think one of the reasons these pages have gotten so verbose is it's like we're trying to satisfy everybody. And so it's hard. So I'm wondering if we have some like fundamental clarifying work we want to do first, just so that we can have some kind of criteria for saying like what gets included and what gets excluded. Like, if we were super clear on the audience and the goal, it would be a lot easier to make other decisions, is kind of my thought process.
right. I want to say we should lean more technical
Okay.
in this page. I mean, but also like even just showing like in this corner you see where DevOps competency partner, that's important, because it gives someone that might be interested in GitLab who is focused on dev, it gives them a little bit more like
Credibility.
street cred, like,
Yeah.
oh, we are a sought out DevOps competency partner. So it might, someone that's digesting this content, that's like, okay, AWS has vetted them out to be a top DevOps partner, makes me feel a little bit better about maybe trying them out with my, what I'm looking to do.
So do you think that, I'm curious, of all the things, so we've actually got a lot of calls to action here, right? We've got talk to an expert, we've got learn more, and then we've actually got this one here, which is check out GitLab's offerings on the, I didn't realize this is actually a call to action. This is our marketplace listing. And then we've got each of these learn mores, which are all calls to action.
Right.
So do we know like what the most valuable call to, like, of any call to action on this page, what is the one we most want them to do?
Probably sign up for a free trial of GitLab if we use this page a lot. I want to say mostly for we have an AWS nurture campaign, and so we reference this page a lot because we want to get people to ultimately convert into an MQL. We want them to start a trial of GitLab, and we want them, ultimately to be a customer. So I'm thinking at the end of the day, we're being like, hey, look at all this. You are an AWS shop. We support AWS. Sign up for GitLab, become a customer, because we can support you in your AWS, whatever you're looking to do. So
okay.
I would say
that's super helpful. So what I'm thinking is, what if, I think rather than trying to reorganize this all, I think what I'm probably going to suggest we do is share this with the web team, share this video with them so they can understand. It sounds like there's a bit of reordering that we want to do, probably bringing some of this up higher. And then obviously when I look at this, I see, all this stuff is locked down below the fold and there's this big block of text, probably this, can live somewhere. It's probably important to say these things, but maybe not here. So I'm thinking maybe what we want to do is we want to make sure like every part of this journey leads to that, probably that either the primary goal, which is the free trial, or maybe we say like a secondary goal is that they go to the AWS marketplace. I don't know. You tell me what the secondary goal is, but my point would be like, let's just check to make sure, rather than like, because there's so many links, there's so many ways this person can get sent off of this page right now that, and some of them, so the good news about Docs, by the way, is, let me just show you an example. Until really recently in Docs, we didn't have this get free trial button, believe it or not. And so, you'd get here and you'd pretty much be at a cul-de-sac or you wouldn't necessarily create a trial. So the good news is that's been addressed. So those pages are better, but I am concerned about, some of these other pages. I guess the free trial's here in the right corner, but it's just like, well, I don't really know. This was sort of a little bit of non sequitur, right? I see the AWS Fargate and then I'm taken to a customer example page. How do I act on this?
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit, I think the user experiences can be a little confusing.
Yeah. Which is we just have to probably, if we pick a goal and we just say everything needs to eventually lead to this goal, then we can just check everything against that. And the things that don't, we can adjust them.
If you scroll down too, what's another, why we want to support that, the ultimate goal is for them to sign up and become customers, is we're like, hey, look at all these joint solutions in action in this customer success story. This could, we're giving examples to kind of convert them into the funnel even more. So that's why we have all this at the bottom as well. Mm-hmm. It just supports that.
It almost feels like an incomplete page though, right? Like this, like we have a list because we didn't have time to actually like have the page have like a graphic to like show off this video. I mean, we can do all these things. I just want to make sure, like I'm trying to open this door of like, if these are great pieces of content, let's have them featured more on this page visually so that they're more compelling. Like if I see there's a how to deploy AWS from GitLab, to me, I'm like, is that not like, if that's a white paper, is that not the most valuable thing if I'm like up here at this first one? I think it's interesting to think like, how can these things be part of the journey? I'm guessing y'all wouldn't have made them, or they wouldn't have been solutions in action if they weren't things that, are helping in the sales conversation. So I'm just wondering, how do we show them off more than just a link?
Yes, I agree with that. And we also have more content we want to add to this page, believe it or not, from more demos and more technical stuff that support our story. So I think, like you said, doing something a little bit more visual to show off the story instead of it just being a bunch of links, because it's,
well, links are better than nothing, right? So like I think it's really good they're here, because like otherwise I wouldn't know where to find these things. So definitely keep adding them, but I think our job probably should be to help with the visual storytelling a little bit more.
Right. What have we done with other pages where if we have a white paper or a webinar where have we done anything visual there that maybe we can replicate for this page?
I don't think we really have. I think like you and I having this conversation is like a beginning, but I think at the very least we could create either an embeddable video with, that just, you can see like, oh, there's a video here I can watch, or we can create some kind of graphic for, kind of representing what's in that white paper. Those things seem pretty simple to me. I think the big question I have is just, of all this content, do we know which pieces are the most effective in converting people in the journey? Like, because we probably don't need to have all of these be visually merchandised, but if we could like prioritize the ones that have the highest impact, I think that would also really help. Do you have a way of knowing that?
Yeah. So with the Path Factory that we have from our AWS Nurture, I can definitely find out that information and see what people are digesting and maybe see what they're converting. So I can do that with the Path Factory, and maybe even in our Nurture, I can see if there's a way that we can deep dive and see if people, because the Nurture basically is like a drip campaign. Mm-hmm. So we're sending emails and then seeing if what content, which is basically almost all this content that you see on this page, is being clicked on.
Perfect. And yeah, I would kind of expect, that the content earlier in the drip gets more clicks just because more people are still engaged. But what would be really interesting is like, which ones drive conversion, and can we like, if they visit this page and they view that content, can we accelerate their journey basically?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you wanted to look at some other examples. So I was thinking maybe I would give the screen share over to you so you could show me if you have any like examples of things you like.
Yeah, let me pull up. Sorry, 1 second.
All good.
I want to pull up like the, let me find it first before I just.
Take your time.
Let me share my screen. Okay, so it's kind of slow. So, but this is one page I just wanted to pull up. This is the Datadog AWS Go Together. It's not perfect, but this is a page I'm kind of familiar with because I was at Datadog previously. But one thing that they do here is they kind of show their dashboard. So it's a little bit more visual. They show, and I know Datadog is a little bit more of, it's a different solution. So it's a little bit more a visual product, but they kind of show their integrations that they support with, and additional resources. So I guess it can take, well, that doesn't help, but they have the resources where people can go to their blog page. So I guess it's a little bit more digestible. It's a little bit short. We definitely have a lot more content we want to put in our page. So I don't know if it's the best use case, but it's one I'm familiar with.
So when you think about the conversation about, say someone says they're going to sign up for GitLab and they want to use AWS, is the person visiting this page not already a GitLab user? So we're trying to both convert them to GitLab and have them start using AWS, or is this page proof points because they're already a customer and they realize they want to integrate?
It's we're using it as both to like for both stories.
One thing I'm wondering is if we should have so like I noticed their URL here is partner/AWS. I wonder if we should have partner pages, but then also solutions pages and not try to cover both things in one, right? So like the partner page is sort of like a shingle where we're saying, hey, we work with this company, we're credible, here's how to get started, please convert. And it's very much like kind of feels like the new user experience versus solutions being like a deep dive, like, oh, okay, you want to do this now and you need to know how, or you have like specific questions we've addressed with content. I'm just wondering if there's a need to separate the two things in your mind.
There probably is, because now that I'm thinking about it, I think there is a different, let me pull up. They also have their solutions page. I guess this would be their kind of solutions page, where it is, look, you can do all your AWS monitoring, and it kind of is what we're showing. Like it shows what they support: Lambda, EC2, ECS. And
then features.
And
yeah,
so
we're a longer page for sure, which makes
sense.
And
we're kind of like that's a good point. We're kind of combining both of them. They separated theirs, like theirs from partner versus solutions, and we're doing both. We're like, we partner and solution. So
yeah,
that is a good point.
I mean, the truth is making another page and breaking that out, that's not a lot of work. I think we have basically all the content. It's more of like a curation effort that needs to happen now to like pick and choose, like what are the most important things? What are the goals to prioritize? Like, how do we make it a journey? I think you have so much here, like even just that list of links is awesome. But I think the thing we need is some guidance on like, what's the vision for like these partner landing pages versus what's the vision for the solutions pages as like two standalone things. I mean, I don't even know, were you involved in writing the solutions page to start with, or did that just already exist when you joined, or like what's the history?
The one on GitLab on AWS. So
yeah.
That was right when I joined. We were starting to set that up, because when I joined, so we hired or GitLab hired Pete, who is our alliance manager for AWS here, and he was like, we need one of these pages. So I think that we just stood it up very quickly so that we could have something, because he's like, this is what we're missing here. So it really was like a quick lift. We were like, oh, let's just do something, put something so we have it. And then, so it was right when I started, it kind of is when this page came together.
Cool, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just thinking for different campaigns, we'll have different intentions or different audiences. So maybe that's a low-hanging fruit to split them out. And I think this fits with kind of, we've been exploring, like what should about.gitlab.com/partners, like what should live kind of under that section of the site versus solutions. So
Right.
this is really helpful. I think a couple of actions, I know we're going to run out of time here, is like, I'd love to share this with Mahesh and the PMMs so they're kind of just aware of the thought process here so they can help us. I'd love to share it with the web team so that they're thinking about it. I think probably we should just, I don't have like a lot of contact with like the rest of the partner organization, kind of the part that kind of, I guess, falls outside of marketing, like Michelle Hodges' organization. But I just want to make sure that, okay, one second, that we take advantage of like all the people who have ideas that want to help. Cause I think like you have enough feedback here, we can make an iteration and make this a lot better, like right away, if you want.
Yes, and I think that's a good next step. And one thing I did want to say that we should probably include is we want to start incorporating partners in some of the use cases that we support. Like for example, CI, that we're driving that campaign. Some of these use cases that we highlight, I think we could do a better job of maybe incorporating those use cases and how we do that with partners on this page.
Okay.
Because that's something that we're doing today already with a lot of our campaigns.
Yeah, my feeling is that the campaigns are probably out ahead of the page. You know what I mean? Like you're already telling a better story in the campaign, and now we just need to take that and bring it over here. Does that resonate at all?
Yes.
Okay, that's great news because that means a lot of thought's already gone into it, and we just need to figure out how to like get that to show here.
For
So,
sure.
okay, well, I know we're out of time, so I think we should probably stop recording here.